Okay, so I'm starting the screen sharing. Let me know through your thumbs up that whether it's visible or not. So, is it visible? Can anyone drop a message on the chat? Okay, so today, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So today we will be talking about, first I will introduce myself. I'm Dr. Romita Banerjee. I'm a teacher's trainer. I'm a energy healer. I'm a psychological counselor. I'm a diet therapist and few more things. Uh, I started with psychological training of teachers, parents, and leaders in 2012, and it has been more than 10 years into this field. And now I have shifted to the online mode. So we would be talking about pointers which every leader should know, because so many times I see leadership at a very important role, but they struggle. They want the best for their team, they want the best for their companies, but even then they do struggle to understand the human behavior and how to motivate their team members, because every person is different. We cannot generalize stuff, but yes, there are certain patterns which each person displays, and it is important to understand the patterns and behavior and what they are leading to. So we will be talking about certain things. Let me shift to the okay. So before we start, I want you all to understand why are we talking about this. Leadership is an achievement of trust. So getting someone to trust you with their behavior, with their vision, with their passion, this is very important, because leadership is a relationship between a follower and a leader based on trust. So if I have a team member, they need to understand, they need to trust me as per their growth, as per their thought process, as per whatever we decide as a vision for the team. So leadership is all about trust, and that is why understanding the human mind is so important, because if we do not understand the human mind, we won't be able to garner trust of the team members. So this quote is one of my favorites. So trick one, uh, first we need to understand this is the most common, and most of us we do talk about it. So first one is the driving force. Why, what drives a person is very important. So here you can see this triangle, which is a pyramid, and it talks about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We all know about it, but at times when we become leaders, or we are talking about people in general, interpersonal skills, conflict resolution, we tend to forget that these are the similar things which are so important when we are talking about the motivation of people. General tendency of leaders is to understand that when there is a financial aspect involved, a person would be motivated, but that is not always. Even a Harvard University research paper states so. It states that it is 30% of time it is the monetary benefit that an employee is getting, but rest of 70% it is about what else are they getting. It is about job satisfaction, it is about what kind of boss they have, what kind of job security they have. This is most important. So you can see this Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it talks about different levels, 5 levels, and we have the basic level at physiological level. What does a person want? Physiological is the base level, and these are all based on what I get and what I want. It is based on the want needs of a person. But on the topmost, you must be seeing self-actualization, which is the topmost level of driving force and the motivation. So if a person wants to grow in life, Of course, the person who wants to have vice versa, there are two cases. Let's assume there are two people. One is who wants to reach his higher potential, and another one is just trying to get basics of his life sorted, like I get a home, I get a good salary. So the way the leader transacts with these two people would be very different, because these two people are driving different kind of passion. So they would understand people in a different perspective, as in their needs are concerned. So if a person, maybe one employee or one of your team member, will get motivated by a simple appreciation, or another person would get motivated when you give them more responsibilities and more platform to work. So these are two things which are very important. First, what is the person lacking? So if a person comes from a very difficult background and is struggling with the basic needs, of course the appreciation won't work. He would need much more to get motivated. On the contrary, if a person is looking for self actualization, discovering his best potential, then of course monetary benefits would be kind of a peanut for the person, and because he is aspiring to get something else higher than what everyone else is asking. One is based on wants, and another one is based on vision and desires and ultimate potential. So one is the trick number one. When I'm talking about leadership, keep in mind all your members, all your core members of your team, and divide them into different, make a pyramid like this, and divide this into people into different categories. So for example, Ram wants respect. Another one, Sham of your team, wants job security. So you can divide them as per their needs, so that it's easier for you to identify who is going to get motivated by which driving force and which kind of motivation or appreciation. So next would be the personality trait. This is trick number 2. So mostly we talk about personality in a general term कि इसकी personality ऐसी है, इसकी personality वैसी है, but ultimately when it comes to personality traits in psychological point of view, then there are different theories which talks about personality traits and how some of the personality traits are related to leadership, and some of the personality traits are related to different aspects of a company. So every team member of your organization, or team member of your institution, will have a different kind of a personality. Unless and until we understand what kind of personality they have, we won't be able to understand what they are looking in me, what kind of leader do they want. Because it is, leadership is more about like a parenting style. If you have 5 children, but everyone will want a different kind of a personality style, and they will want a different kind of parent personality, and that is what parents do. Similar is the case with leaders. Leadership is about understanding what is the person wanting, how can I motivate the person so much so that the person is able to understand and deliver his or her best. So the 4 categories through which we can understand in a basic level is introversion, extroversion. Introversion and being shy are two different things. At times people get confused in this. So introversion is about feeling comfortable being alone. Extroversion is being comfortable being around people. So introvert people, the primary parameter that I tell all my students is that if you want to understand who is an introvert and who is an extrovert, notice them when they are upset. So if a person is upset, for example, I'm an introvert, and when I am upset, I will try to find a safe place, alone space, and would like to spend some time alone. and that relaxes introverts. On the contrary, when we talk about extroverts, if they are stressed or they are unhappy, they will find some people to be around. They want to vent out, they want to talk about stuff. So this is the major criteria. It is not that introverts hate being social, they are social people, but they when they want to heal themselves, or they want to a lot of crowd disturbs them. So if a person, for example, in your team, there are people who are lone workers, they perform best when they are alone. So we need to, as leaders, we need to understand who is a lone worker and who is a team player. And it is neither of them are anything bad, but important is to, if I want to get the best out of everyone, so I need to understand who works best in which environment. So sensing an institution, some people are naturally very observant. They are able to observe things and retain it. Some people are not. So that is also one thing. They get intuitions. They understand ki, okay, so they get a sense of it, but they are not very observant as such. So observation, sensing, intuition, these are all parts of it. Thinking or feeling, so some we generally call it pragmatic or emotional. So this, for example, some people are very emotional. They think everything from the perspective of emotions. So if the person is thinking on the perspective of emotions of other people, they will they will make decisions on different parameters. And on the contrary, a person who is very practical, pragmatic, they would try to find different kind of solutions. So as a leader, we need to understand that balancing a team is very important, and everyone is needed. A pragmatic team player is also important, and an emotional person is also important, so that everything comes up together for the benefit of the organization and the vision is accomplished. Judging or perceiving is another thing. Look, some people perceive information, like they have a different kind of thought process. They get information and then they perceive it different ways. And judging is seeing it as such the environment is, and then understanding and then judging the scenario. So this is trick number 2. So first one was understanding what a person is, person's driving forces. Another one is the personality traits. So as I told you, you can divide your team members into different criteria. So there is a chart in which you can divide your people into different charts, and then you can decide what will motivate what. So for example, landmine talks about people who are very good contributors. They contribute a lot, they will do a lot of work, but they lack the cultural fit. So they won't be able to fit in at every meeting or organization. At times they speak out of turn, they speak things which are not necessary, but they are very competent. They know how to work, they know how to function. And someone who is a star is good in everything. So they are good contributors and they are good. They are also culturally fit. So when you have a team, you divide them into different criteria so that you know that who is most important. So if you face an attrition or any important thing, then you know who will fit what. So if you would never want to lose a person who is in the star category. However, if someone comes under this category, not yet gone, like a person is a dead weight on the team, of course, the person is not performing, you can choose to let them go if they wish to. So making a chart like this gives us the glimpse of the criticality of any position. So trick number 3. So attachment styles. When I talk to leaders about attachment style, most of them, they do not know this part of the psychological scenario, because attachment style talks about how we as children had got attached to our parents. So it is about a parent and child relationship during a person's childhood, and this how they got connected with their parents, what kind of bonding they had with their parents, and how this is serving and getting reflected in their adult life. So for example, there is a team member who is kind of not just a minute. So, for example, there is a team member who is skeptical about each and everything. They do not want to talk about problems. They just keep to themselves. They're maybe clumsy. They are grumpy. They do not want to talk about it. But we need to understand first and foremost, when I take interviews, when I talk to people of my team, I ask them about their childhood and what kind of relationship do they have with their parents. So one of my question, you can also ask such questions to understand what kind of parenting they must have got. So for example, if you ask your team member that tell me two things that your parents have taught you, or two things that your parents dislike about you, or two things which actually you like in your parent but would not like to copy. So these are few other questions which will help you understand what kind of parenting they had got. The psychodynamic theory of psychology also talks about this in certain aspects, and it is important to understand what kind of attachment style your team members have, because once you understand that, you will be able to understand what what kind of leader do they want, because parenting and authority are two similar kind of a stature. So if you want to understand what kind of leader they want, you would be able to you would want to know what kind of parenting they had. So if a their parent was too harsh on them, too cruel with them, very criticizing kind of a parent, so when they grow up, they would dislike a leader who is very cruel towards them, is only performance based, not taking them in, not including them in everything. So these are few pointers that we should know. On the contrary, if there is a person who has a very secure childhood, was very happy as a child, when he grow up to be an adult and is in your team, you will be able to see how clear minded they are. And I'm not saying that you should not hire people who had difficult childhood, because it is also our responsibility to heal as a society, as a heal as a community. But we should know what kind of background they are coming from. So there are 4 types of attachment style. First one is secure, where the child feels extremely secure with their parent and they're happy about it. Avoidant kind of a people, they generally have a parent who is kind of avoiding responsibility. So when they grow up, these kind of children, when they grow up, they also become avoidant. They are commitment phobic. So they, if you give them some work, they will take the work, but they will not commit to any timeline. They will be scared to commit to any timeline. So this is one of the sign of avoidant kind of a attachment style. Anxious kind of attachment style, you can see a lot of team members who are very anxious about their performance. If anything goes wrong, they will lie, they will talk about, they will try to blame on someone else, but they will not take onus of it, because they have a anxious kind of a personality. It takes a lot of effort for them to understand that yes, I can make mistakes and I can accept that I've made mistakes, because they generally come from a very authoritative kind of a parenting. Last one is disorganized, who are a mix of fearful and avoidant. So they are very afraid as a person, and they also avoid commitments. So for example, there is a team who a person wants to take and work, they want to work, but they do not want to commit to any target or a timeline. they would avoid having a target or a timeline, and they would be fearful if the time approaches. So you will find a lot of people, when you tell them that they have a meeting with their bosses or anything, they get very afraid and start to juggle with the notes and everything. So this is a personality which has a difficult childhood, and they were kind of scolded for each and everything wherever they were not allowed to make mistakes. So this kind of personality, when they grow up as an adult, they become disorganized. As soon as there is pressure, they are stressed, they cannot work under stress. So when you have team members, understand what kind of personality they have and relate with their childhood. Because once you understand what kind of parent they had and what are the fears that they are trying to avoid, it gives you a very, very easy way to access their mental strength. And you are able to get their trust, and they are able to trust you if they are not scared. जो बचपन में the fear that was generated when they were children is not healed properly. If you are able to heal that pain, they will work for you tirelessly. They won't let any stone unturned to help you get your vision. I think there is someone on unmute. Just okay, so this was another thing. And now, how much time do we have left? Okay, it's 6:22. So the inner child is, we talk about inner child when we are talking about psychology and talking about psychodynamic aspect of human mind. We talk about inner child. So when we understand attachment theory, it gives us very important message on how to deal with people and how to gain their trust. So you can see different kind of theories. One is secure. The person would be very self-assured, direct, responsible. They will be open to criticism as well. However, when someone is preoccupied kind of a person, he will be always anxious, self-doubting. They would want to get validation from their peer group, colleagues, or the boss. Dismissing would be they won't listen to you. They would not be open to any kind of criticism. Dismissive is that. Fearful is they do not want to be criticized because of fear, because they when we give feedback to such team members, we have to be very, very cautious, because it can trigger the most difficult part of their human psyche. So because attachment is relationship, any work environment. So there was a study, and it was published in the month of January, in which it talked about what leads people to resign and shift from one company to another. So hardly it was about different kind of situations. It was mostly about understanding what can lead to what. So okay, trick number 4, how to create change. So how people change and how you can change people is also a very important aspect of behavioral modification in psychology. So once people, if you want your team members to become like you also have to understand that what will they imitate. So these are few of the pointers which will give us the glimpse that what will people imitate and what leads to what. So if a person is very similar to us, they will try to imitate us. They are in high status, so generally juniors try to imitate their bosses. If the person they are very respectable, then they will try to imitate them. They are very nurturing. So that is why we talked about attachment styles, needs, hierarchy, and everything. Because when a team leader is like a guardian, If you are able to gain trust of that person as a guardian, the person becomes a part of your team like no one is. There won't be any fear of attrition, there won't be any fear of them leaving the organization or leaking confidential information. There won't be any fear because they accept you as a guardian, and that is the most fulfilling part for any head or any person. So first thing first, they will do whatever they see in you. If you want to get respect and get their trust, make them see what you want them to. These things we do with children, but ultimately at times we do forget about these things when we deal with adults. But it is the same thing. I really feel that leadership is mostly about the role of a parent. The similar way a parent takes care of the child, gets the trust of it because he believes that the what is best for the child. Same thing happens with the team leader. It owns up the team and takes care of them and gets their trust and ensures that they reach their full potential with their vision and the motivating factors. So trick number 5, expectancy theory. This is a very lesser known theory which we hardly talk about, but it is a very magical kind of a theory which gives us the crux of what motivates a person. So people will be motivated to work on a certain particular aspect or particular project if they think that it will lead to a desired outcome. So first and foremost, let's go to the previous one where we were talking about the desired outcomes. So what are the desired outcomes a person would want? First and foremost, let's understand that is the person desired outcome is about appreciation or growth or self-actualization. And when the desired outcome is fixed, then it comes what will lead them to think that this is about the desired outcome. So for example, you have a big project coming up and you want your team to be motivated. So what do you show them as the desired outcome? And if they resonate with it, they will do as you wish them to do. So if you have an important thought in mind, connect them with their own mindset, their own driving force, their own motivating factors, and their own desired outcomes. If, for example, there is a meeting and you introduce your team member to your boss, and your team member thinks that if the super boss likes me, he will give me a raise. Of course, that is a desired outcome for many. So the desired outcome, their motivational level, their driving force, all three has to be connected so that people do what you envision. So this is the expectancy model, the chart of it. And let's understand what this says. So first one is the effort. The team member is putting effort in certain things. Then there is a performance and then there is a reward. So first, if we want to work on the effort part of it, we need to understand what is, if I work hard. So this is an example. If I work hard, will I get the job done? So if there is a question in the mind of a team member that if he puts effort in any activity, what will it lead to? So then they next part is the performance part. They assess how much performance is needed to get the desired result. And these are so quick things that people tend to negate the whole process and try to understand the reward part. But this is actually the process. First, we try, for example, there's a child and we tell them that there are board exams coming up and you need to work hard. So first the child would try to understand how much effort will be needed, what kind of effort would lead to what kind of performance, and that kind of performance will, what kind of reward will be given to me. So for example, if I study for 4 hours, if a child is told, if I study for 4 hours and my performance is up to 90% in board results, then I will get good, my reward will be getting good admission in a good college and a settled life and a good secured job. So these are different ways. When a team leader is trying to involve everyone, is trying to make them understand that what leads to what, when there is a project involved. So for example, there is an academic meeting and you want to get effort out of them, show them what they will be getting, what kind of effort will lead to what, and what kind of performance will lead to which kind of an reward. So this is very important when it comes to building a criteria for performance. When you are deciding on what kind of performance is expected out of your team member, it is very important to set the criterias right. So to summarize the pointers, we have only 1 minute left. I did not notice. So summarize the pointers. The driving force, we talked about it, the personality traits, the attachment style, how to create change, what do they imitate, and lastly, the reward and outcomes. So this was it. I hope it was informational. I hope you all learn new things and it's beneficial for all your team members. If we have time for questions, we can take questions. Otherwise, you can always drop me a message and we can connect on call. Any comments, anyone? Any questions? Thank you so much, everyone, from being here. It was lovely having you all here. Thank you so much.